Hey there, listeners. Welcome back to the Learn Great Writing channel. My name is Rose Henberg, and I'm here today as the writing coach and director of enterprise cohorts for Learn Great Writing, the guest host of this awesome spotlight interview coming your way. I am so excited to be joined by the lovely Anastasia Oguntade. She is one of our in-house grant writers that participated in a 6-week group grant training last year, sponsored by the Indiana Youth Institute. Now, Anastasia, along with 48 others, joined from their organizations. Anastasia was joining with the Indiana Black Breastfeeding Coalition. She was their secretary at the time, went through this training, thrived, and has grown so much in just 1 year. Now she is the chief grant writing officer for Spark Philanthropy, and she's even moved into a presidential role for the Indiana Breastfeeding Coalition. Today, she's here to talk about her journey through this cohort and where she is now as a grant writer, and I'm so excited to be the host. So without further ado, let's jump in. I'm so glad that we were able to make some digital space here. I know we had to reschedule a couple times. As my coworker would say, life has just been lifing hard right now.
Absolutely.
You feel that?
Yeah, life has been lifing.
It's been lifing, but we made some space, and I'm so excited to dive in a little deeper to you. A little background for our listeners here. The lovely Anastasia participated in a 6-week grant writing cohort alongside 48 other participants, and this cohort was sponsored by the Indiana Youth Institute. So Anastasia, remind me how you were able to participate in this cohort with the Indiana Black Breastfeeding Coalition. How did you join that cohort? What was your position with the organization?
At that time, I was the secretary. I was with the Indiana Black Breastfeeding Coalition, and I was the secretary. We were working with IYI, just trying to get our strategic plan and everything situated. And it was recommended that we join a grant writing cohort because grant writing was part of the sustainability process. So that's how we got there.
Yes. And I was lucky enough to be part of that cohort. I get to lead that and really get to know you and to have you on the team. And I got to say, you absolutely thrived, not just in that training, but once that 6 weeks ended, like, our relationship didn't end. You were hungry for more learning. You reached out. You have, since grown and leveled up. You are the chief grant writing officer for Spark Philanthropy. And am I correct in that you are the president of IBBC now?
I am actually the president of the Indiana Breastfeeding Coalition now.
Okay.
So we help out IBBC. So yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, up to president, that is fantastic and super cool. Yeah. Well, for all of our listeners today, we are going to keep diving into this interview. But I want to start easy. I'm going to start with some get to know you questions, give you some, what I call just, rapid fire questions here. So don't hurt the brain too much. I'm just going to ask you some things that I think should be reflexive, and then just give me your one-word answer-ish for our viewers. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I got this.
All right. First question here is, what is one word to describe your dream lifestyle?
Options and opportunities. So one word, options.
Hyphen opportunity?
Yes.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Number 2, what is your go-to song when you need a pick-me-up?
I listen to gospel, but right now Proverbs 3 by what's the man's name? Todd Delaney is my go-to right now.
Okay. Got some good rhythm. Good pick.
Yeah. Get you where you need to be.
Thought we can know the life, right?
Right.
Yes. And number 3, what is your biggest role model? Or excuse me, who is your biggest role model? Not what, who?
Some will argue that the God is a what, but besides him, my mom, she showed me how to just persevere, and when things got hard or when the sand got thick, keep trudging through.
Shout out to the moms, and just, on the cusp of Mother's Day. Love it. Good. Next, what are you reading right now?
Nothing interesting. Besides school books. School books. I'm learning about the body.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, gotta keep leveling up in the learning. Good. What about the last TV show that you binged?
The last TV show that I binged was, I think it might have been Umbrella Academy. Yeah, but I'm currently watching the Chosen series, but sat there and just watched it straight through the Umbrella Academy.
Amazing. Yeah. And my last question for you, what is your superpower?
I can go to sleep pretty much anywhere. I can go to sleep. Don't leave me sitting anywhere. That don't make me sit anywhere too long. I'm out. I don't know if that's good or that's bad.
I think that's amazing. I was about to break with you. I can hardly sleep. Oh, that's amazing. Okay, well, don't fall asleep during this interview.
Well,
hey, wait a minute.
No. It's when it's quiet and it's still and you're just like, this will be a good time to take a nap. I'm going to.
I love it. That's a great superpower. It's probably great to balance life. Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps up our rapid fire. You passed. Well done. We got to know you a little bit better. So learn grant writing, really our bread and butter is that we help serve individuals who are ready for a career change, become paid grant writers so they have the flexibility to build a life they love. But that's not how you came to learn grant writing, right? In the last few years, we've actually helped organizations that want to build out the capacity of their partner network to write more winning grants, i.e. this group grant writing training, which is how, you got involved with Indiana Youth Institute and you went through this 6-week grant writing training. Walk me through, were you starting this training with any sort of, from a place of experience with grant writing? Had you written grants before? What was the landscape for you?
So in order to get us to the position to begin to work with IYI, we had to write a grant. So myself and, the coalition, we, gathered together and we tried to knock this grant out, and it was with the state. So that was really my official introduction into grant writing. I had heard about grant writing almost 10 years ago. And a lady who came and talked to us about it, she was just so fancy. And I just loved her, how she was. And I said, well, I want to be like her when I grow up. And then here I am.
We're going to come back to that because I feel like you're the fancy one now that people are like, I want to be on that fast track.
Yeah.
They come up here.
I'm still learning.
Fair enough. So you wrote the grant to be part of this cohort, and for the organization, what did success look like to be part of this 6-week program?
So success at that time, success for us looked like we had developed the skill set that we would need in order to sustain, and just again developing a secret sauce that we would be able to get more yeses than nos. But yeah,
to the specific, writing the grants and researching after the scene.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it was successful? Did you write that whole?
I do feel like it was successful because we did gain the skill set. We did gain the understanding, and we may not have developed the secret sauce in the cohort, but we were definitely given all the ingredients to do so.
I couldn't have written that better myself. Thank you, Anastasia. That was beautiful. Bars. Yes. Okay, so let's come back to this idea of the fancy woman that, inspired you, kind of set your goal. I want to talk about the cherry on top of this. You joined the program, went through the training to be a grant writer in 2022, that summer, and just under a year, you've exploded. You've done so many cool things. So can you hit me with the 3 of your greatest accomplishments since joining that cohort last year?
3 accomplishments. Well, the first one, was completing the cohort. That was a big accomplishment. And then, being able to apply all of the tools and techniques that we learned, figuring out figuring out my way through the process. I guess the second thing would be gaining repeat clientele, for people that I have worked with outside of IBBC. And then being able to verbalize and explain to them what it is that I'm doing. I have found that, grant writing is storytelling, and I'm a great storyteller. And then also gaining my newest position with Spark. That is that is my cherry on the top moment, because I adore the founder, Karen. She's a fancy lady too. And it was just great. And then just even with the position with the Indiana Breastfeeding Coalition, I have brought I started a grant writing committee. And so, so that way it can help the other coalition members develop that skill set of grant writing, and then it can help us to create sustainability for the coalition.
That's incredible. So not only are you continuing to build capacity within the organization that you're working with, you're helping another organization. And are you also like grant writing side hustle on the side? Like,
yes, because it's giving me options. It's giving me options for opportunity.
That's right. That's your dream lifestyle. That's amazing. I mean, yeah, that's what we want, right? We want to, give anyone skills, or as an individual, you want the skills, but you're the power behind it. You're the first one that's putting this into action and building those opportunities. And that's super cool to see. Okay. What was the biggest surprise about your grant writing journey so far?
Once I figured out what I was doing, people actually wanted to work with me. And, once you get into a position, and even though you know what you're doing, there are still moments of like that imposter syndrome that creep up, and like, I haven't been doing this long, and all of my proposals haven't gotten approved. So am I really successful, or at what point can I really say confidently, yeah, I'm a grant writer, or I have a grant writing business? And so, just even when you have the proof, or the receipts, as people like to call it, there's still that doubt that will creep in. Yeah.
Imposter syndrome is real. What do you feel now that you are the hashtag grant writer?
No, I don't even know when that happens. And it's like, I don't know. maybe when I write $1 million grant, then yeah, I think then I'll be able to, you won't be able to tell me anything at that point.
Well, this is recorded, so I'm going to hold you to that. We're going to go back to when you write that $1 million grant.
Manifestation. There you go.
Exactly. But I do want to highlight, you have one funding, like 50,000, and I think, did you also get funding for Spark Philanthropy as well?
Not yet. So we are working actually on a $16 million proposal. So we're in a bidding to be like the organization that writes the proposals, and they need 16 million. So yeah, so we're in the process of trying to do that. So I guess I'll blow that $1 million thing out of the water, right?
I'll check back with you in a couple months,
right? Yeah. So I successfully helped with the 50,000 and 125,000. So I had a goal of making six figures, helping fund get six figures funded in the first year, and I met that goal. So I'm happy.
Oh my gosh, I'm so vibing with this. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, so that brings us to, I think you said the most rewarding, but what about the most, maybe you've already addressed this, the most challenging aspect of your journey in becoming a grant writer?
Okay, so what I just gave you was the most challenging, battling with that, imposter syndrome. The most rewarding is seeing ideas and what I have written come to life. I don't know how to explain that, but when you think back on the entire process of brainstorming, developing the narrative and all of these things. And then you hit that submit. Well, I don't hit the submit button, but I send it to the organization and they hit that submit button. And then you wait, and then you get the email or the call that says that they've gotten funded, they got approved. And then you start to see the work going in, and then it's like, this is really happening. I wrote about this. Oh, this is happening. Oh, you're doing this.
That's so great. That is amazing. So how do you celebrate those moments?
Of course, I just do a little jig. I go and I tell my celebrate with my family, celebrate with the organization, but I try not to. I don't want to get the big head. I really don't want to get the big head, because pride comes before the fall, and I do not want to. I don't ever want to think that, oh yeah, I got this, and there's nothing else for me to learn, or I can't perfect my craft anymore, develop or enhance my skill set. So still just trying to absolutely intentionally remain humble.
Oh, well, I see it. I absolutely see it. And that leads so nicely into, I want to just take a moment, take a pause here and talk more about like you as an individual. I had the great pleasure of, leading this cohort and kind of in the teacher role. Yes, I got to connect with you individually, but I love that after the cohort ended in, summer, you reached back out in January. And again, I talk about the hunger that you have for learning opportunities. And so we started to build more of a business relationship and talking about things, and fast forward and March hits and life is lifing. And you got the unfortunate news that your grandmother had passed away. And, in any other business situation, this could have been a moment where you didn't have to share with me or connect. But I was so humbled by the fact that you opened up, you shared this with me, this vulnerability. And it happened to be during a time when, I got news as well of my father's terminal illness. And because of you, because of your background and your humbleness, you're willing to be more personal, you built a space that I could share that too. And it really was so beautiful. And I want to give our listeners here, when I shared the news, you wrote this amazing email. And yes, I have it here because I read it sometimes. It's so good. So you wrote to me and you said, I encourage you to take all the time you need, love on your dad, yourself as much as you can, and be unapologetic about it. Tomorrow will come no matter what, so let it worry about itself and focus on the now. With all these lemons, I know that we're going to make an amazing batch of lemonade when all is said and done, so hang in there. Oh, and it just, that chills up my arm. And so I guess I want to ask, because I guess this is an interview, I should make this a question, but, life is busy. Time scarcity is real, and business is at the forefront of our attention. But you had a way to make business personal. And I think that's so important as we move into the future. So my question to you is, how do you continue to stay true to your values and be personal in this business space?
We're human. We're human, and that's all I know how to be, is a human. And so I owe it to myself to allow me the space to have these human experiences. And it would be hurting myself if I wasn't honest about what I was going through, because if we aren't honest, then that will allow people to have a unrealistic expectation of ourselves, of us. And so, and that won't allow us to take a beat when we need to, when we really, really need to. And so I owe it to myself, I owe it to my experience to say, hey, I'm hurting right now. And what the old folks will say, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So how can anyone know? How can anyone know how to help you if you don't open up your mouth and say, hey, I'm going through something right now, and whether or not you want to give details or not, but just letting someone know, like, I'm not at 100%. So please do not expect that from me.
I know that's you about it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you express that you're hurt, you have to be unapologetic about it, because no one can tell you what your hurt is supposed to look like. No one can tell you what a grieving process is supposed to look like. Just because it didn't affect someone doesn't mean that it won't affect you a different way. So for me, to be the best that I can to myself, because I'm the longest relationship that I've had, and I've took myself through some things. I just have to allow myself that time and space to sit in what it is that I'm feeling, explore it, figure it out. And then when I am 100%, when I'm satisfied with how I'm handling that experience, then I return back and let them know, like, okay, I'm good. But I will also say that in life, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that when they witness someone elderly on their transition bed, oh, I wish I had given my job more of me. It's often moments of, I wish I had spent more time with my family. I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. And so I just firmly believe in, being gentle with yourself. And there you go.
Absolutely. And you said it just beautifully, I don't know. It was very refreshing to get that email and to connect with you in that way. And it's so important, especially being in this field, in the nonprofit world where, this scarcity mindset can lead to a very stressful, path where you're not putting yourself, like, you can't take care of other people if you don't take care of yourself. And that's what your email and your connection reminded me of. And I just really appreciate it.
Absolutely. The work will always be there. The work will always be there.
Yes.
But today will not always be there. So you gotta think about that.
I took care of you and take care of you. Well, my last question to you, easy and simple, complete this sentence. Participating in the 6-week cohort has helped me
gain access to opportunities. Gain access to opportunities. Yeah.
Look at that. Just like that. Mic drop, close, bow. I love it. Well, Anastasia, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so glad we could get this call logged in and we could spend some time together. It's truly been an honor to hear more about your journey, to hear more about you. Thank you for joining me today.
It was my pleasure, Rose. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening today. We're so glad that you were able to join us. Don't forget to hit subscribe so that you never miss grant writing tips from us at Learn Grant Writing. Thanks and have a great day.